Good morning and welcome to Gameplan Book Club. Today is Monday and it is March, good grief, I should have checked the date, 27th? Does that sound right? Okay, good. We all agree. It is March 27th and when you work from home, sometimes you just forget what day it is. We are cruising through our game plan book, and today we're going to tackle chapters 10 and 11. And the topics are really, really important because we are in a relationship business. So the two topics for today are the oil ability follow-up system, which we're going to discuss in detail. And then chapter 11 is dealing with difficult people. And we know that when you're in the people business, that can mean mostly good stuff, but there's always going to be situations where we have to deal with difficult people. That's just life. We're not immune from that. So we're going to have some good tips on that. So starting in with the follow-up system, let's talk about what happens when we don't follow up. First of all, we talk often in this business about planting seeds and how critical it is to continually sow those seeds, which means in Young Living terms, it means sharing samples and mentioning opportunities to people, inviting people to classes, just being a presence in people's lives, not hunkering down in our homes and hoping and praying that, you know, the masses will find me, but putting yourself out there and being an integral part of people's lives. So many of us are great at planting seeds, but then we get devastated when we hear, oh my gosh, I went to church and I found out that Sally signed up with Susie. And we're crushed, and we don't understand why, because, I mean, I had invited her to a class, and she sounded interested. Why in the world would she sign up with someone else? Now, you guys know, everybody that's on here has been in Young Living long enough to know that sometimes things just go sideways, right? So there's not always ill will or, you know, the intent for something to go wrong, but most often, the reason that those things happen, that those potential prospects slip through our hands, is because we have not followed up properly. And I put a lot of that on myself that, you know, if I wasn't a presence in their life for 6 weeks after I gave them a sample, that's kind of my bad. After we share, we need to jot down little reminders or put them in our phone to touch back with them and make sure that we know how they're doing or if they have any questions or that sort of thing. So Sarah Harnish says that consistent follow-up is key to a successful business and to the residual income that will bring true financial freedom to your family. So she has shared a system with us on how to fill classes. That was last week. And now we're going to get a system for follow-up. And I just have to tell you that just hearing about other people's systems really blesses me, because finding a system and, more importantly, let's be honest, sticking with it is not easy. And so I love to be able to kind of be a mouse in the corner and find out how someone else, you know, particularly a cross-line friend that's not in our group, but how are they doing it and what's working and what's not. So I love that Sarah has put this into writing for us. And she shared that this, what she calls the 3-10-30 follow-up system, is really not an invention of her own, but it is something that she learned from Terry Seacrest, who is one of our long-standing Royal Crown Diamonds. So if you're looking at your book, I'm on page 104. we're going to first answer the question, what are the 3 types of people that you'll encounter when you do follow-up? So do you remember how, for those of you that have been to training or listened to some of the CDs with Big Al, he's so funny. And Big Al says, you know, there's only a couple really nasty people in the world. They just move around a lot. Okay? I love thinking about Big Al because, for one thing, he doesn't take life so seriously. Let it roll off your back. But Sarah says it boils down to 3 different kinds of people that we're going to encounter. And once you know which group somebody falls into, you know how to deal with them, right? So you don't have to take offense to how someone might respond. You just have to know, okay, you are one of those people that goes in this category, okay? And then you move forward. So the 3 types of people. The first one is the type of person who wants nothing to do with you and literally asks you to leave them alone, okay? Now, be honest. How many of you have ever encountered one of these kinds of people in regards to Young Living? Has anybody ever encountered one of those? Yeah, okay. I see one hand. So by and large, I would say we're pretty safe to say that those are not the kind of people that we're dealing with on a regular basis, okay? There's a few, and they move around. But for the bulk of our friends and family and prospects, those aren't really the kinds of folks that we're working with, okay? The second kind of person are the people who say, oh man, I meant to get one of those kits to the class, but I had to get Junior to the soccer game, okay? They're so busy, they're distracted, they become forgetful. I have certainly fallen into that category with various things. I'm sure that I'm in good company for any number of things. And so they say, you know, thank you so much for reminding me. Can you walk me through how to get the kit? Boom, your follow-up just paid off, okay? So that's the second kind of person. They don't mean any ill will. They are literally just really busy living life, and so they got distracted. The third kind of person is the one that you are most likely going to encounter, and that's the person that just says, yes, I want to get a starter kit. I really do, but I can't afford it right now. Okay, how many of you have heard that? I bet everybody, exactly. Everybody has heard it several times. So this is so, so important. You guys, I really want you to take this to heart. When people tell you that they can't afford it, what we shouldn't do is launch into an accusatory, proclamation and say, well, you're holding a cell phone, that costs money. You have cable, that costs money. That is so insulting, and that is not going to win you any friends. Okay, that is not in Dale Carnegie's book on how to win friends and influence people. So erase that thought. You may be thinking it, but don't you dare say it out loud, okay? Erase that from your mind. Sarah has the most awesome question. And what she says is, if you could wake up without one thing tomorrow, maybe without a feeling of frustration, or maybe wake up without stiffness, or wake up without, you could even add in without the worry of debt or bills or whatever. If you could wake up without one thing tomorrow, what would that be? And then be quiet and listen. And what they're going to say next is going to be their greatest need. And you, as the experienced member, your job then becomes to match what you have to offer in terms of experience and products and opportunity with what their greatest need is. Isn't that easy? So all that we have to do is get them to share with us what the need is, or what their greatest desire is. And then the rest is just like playing matchmaker, okay? Follow-up can take lots of different forms. So in that case, after you ask them the question of what would they like to wake up without, your next goal is to get an oil or a tool. It might be an informational tool, maybe the For Your Career, it might be the Game Plan Mini, whatever. But your job is to get that tool into their hand as quickly as possible so that they can have a positive experience, okay? How do we follow up? Well, how many different ways are there to communicate? There's quite a few, right? So don't limit yourself. It might be email for some. It might be texting. It might be Facebook Messenger. It very likely could be a face-to-face meeting. Maybe you run, if it's somebody local, maybe you run over a sample and just say, listen, I don't have time to stay. I don't want to intrude. I just wanted to drop this off because I think it could be a blessing for you. And out the door you go, okay? Get them something in their hands that shows, oh my gosh, Diane was listening when I shared what my need was, and she actually went out of her way to meet that need. We don't do that as a culture very often, so I guarantee you that that will stand out as just an extraordinary example of customer service. So already you're kind of putting yourself in a different realm. So when you are making these follow-up contacts, either calls or whatever, Sarah says there's two different kinds of calls. The first is for people who haven't gotten the kit, so they're still in your prospect category. And the second is for people who do have their kit and they're just getting started. So let's focus for just a second on those who do not have a kit. So you call to ask them, what did they like about the class? What stood out? What do they really remember? Okay. Don't ask them if they liked the class, because remember, we want to always presume the positive, right? If you ask someone, did you like the class? That's a yes or a no question. I don't like those. That polarizes people and puts them in one of two categories. So ask what they liked best. That is not a yes or no question. Listen carefully to determine what they're interested in. Do they have a house full of children and they need to know about the Gentle Babies book? Do they have pets or they live on a farm? Maybe they have horses. Ask just point blank if they would like to get a kit. They're ready to get started. And then talk them through how to place their order. If they say not now, instead of walking away or hanging up the phone like a dog with their tail between your legs, ask if it's okay if you mail them some more information. That's very non-intrusive, and we want to presume that they want to continue learning, right? So is it okay if I mail you some resources? If they say yes, there's your opportunity to exemplify your stellar customer service again. So maybe a little handwritten note. I'm a big fan of those. That might be a good place for the Game Plan 101 on the DVD. Perhaps you want to share that, or we've all got glossy flyers and those kinds of things. So anything like that you would want to send to just continue them on their learning journey. The secret here, you guys, is not what you send. It's that you send something, that you're making that next contact, okay? So then at that point, if they say yes, that they're ready for a kit, obviously schedule an appointment so that you can sit down and help them walk through it. The second group of people for follow-up are those who already have their kit. So they purchased the kit. Now the goal would be to help educate them as a user, moving them towards getting on essential rewards. And for some people, they sign up and they are ready. They know that they want to jump into this lifestyle with both feet. Others, you know, I've heard it several times. I'm sure you have too. Hey, I just want to start with the products in my kit. And once I figure out which ones I'm using the most, you know, then I'll take a look at essential rewards. And both of those are fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but we want to start planting those seeds early. So you follow up to ask, did your kit arrive? And for those that have been to our blast training, you've probably heard me talk about like the kit opening party. Nobody should ever have to open their kit alone. That's like a sad thing. That's like having a birthday cake all alone by yourself. So encourage people, hey, when your kid comes, call me. I want to come over and, you know, I want to cheer you on and help you through that, setting up your diffuser for the first time. Or better yet, call a bunch of your friends that you think would like to look in your box, and let's have a kit opening party together and show them what these oils can do. Because you know what will happen, right? They're going to jump into that box and they're going to be like, I want one of these. And boom, just like that, their little leg can take off. So I'm a big, big fan of kit opening parties. One of the things that I was thinking of it several months ago, maybe even a year ago, and I've kind of forgotten about it. I need to jot myself a note down. But I think it would be really fun to do a little team promotion to say anybody new that joins your team, if they post a selfie or post a picture of their kit as they're opening it and put it on their Facebook page, not in your private group, but on their public page, and they tag you, that, you know, they either receive something or they go into a drawing for something. But the psychology behind that, of course, is make it public. Declare to the world that I have started my Young Living journey, and teach them how to respond to those questions. Oh, what's in the box? Hey, I'll send you a PM. Or, you know, life-changing stuff that I'm gonna, you know, I can't wait to open, or whatever the case. Give them a little bit of coaching on how we do those interest-piquing social media things. You guys are fantastic at that. So a little bit of coaching goes a long ways. But if you can get your new people to share with the world that they've started, that's going to help create interest for them, which in turn will help grow your team. So ask people that have their kit, which oils did you use first? What was the first one that you put in your diffuser? You know, did you put your Ningxia samples in the refrigerator? That's a great reminder. You know, a little bit about essential rewards, talking about how to do bottle swapping. That whole concept might be brand new to them. So, hey, as you finish your toothpaste, call me and, you know, let's get you a sample, or let's get you a tube of Young Living toothpaste ordered. Same with the laundry detergent or the dish soap, that sort of thing. There are, in this book, there are a whole bunch of graphics, and you can create your own now that you guys are savvy and using WordSwag and Canva. But all of those wonderful graphics on what a typical 50 PV ER order, I almost said EOR order, a 50 PV order could look like, or 100 PV, to give them ideas. We need to stimulate the creativity that you don't have to just order oil. We want you to order your multi-greens and your Super C and your Super B and your Cortistop and all of that stuff. And we teach them, you know, how you can replace products month by month. So Sarah's got 12 months of graphics in her book, and she goes by body system. So if you want to work on muscles and bones, here's the products that you can aim for. Let's see. She's also said that she put together 3x5 cards to track follow-up with each person. You could totally do that and have a little tickler file in a recipe box, and you can keep track of who you have talked to and when it's time to talk to them again. I do think for everybody, at least for your personally enrolled people, you need to have a pretty clear system on checking in with them at least every other month, if not, more frequently. And if they're close friends, it's probably going to be more frequently just because they're your buddies. But if everybody would commit to taking just exceptional care of your personally enrolled people and then training your people to do the same, we'd have it made. The problem is sometimes we get people enrolled and then they enroll people and then they enroll people, and we've got this gap where there's no real leaders. They just happen to have people under them. And those are the people that kind of fall through the cracks. And so if we can help eliminate that, we're golden. You guys each know for your own teams where the cracks are, okay? So sometimes we have to cover from one leader down to the next. We have to make sure that everybody there is looked after. I can just tell you that the more people we get connected, the higher your OGV will grow, period. End of story. When they are locked in and they're feeling taken care of and they're feeling like they have access to education and resources and all that sort of stuff, they will use the products more and they will order more. And that's just simple math. So that's why, all of the free resources that we have, like this essential oil club, the EOC group, you guys, that is like a gold mine for our members. So invite, don't just throw your people in there, but invite everybody on your team to join that group, because it's all of the diamonds and the crowns and the royals that are jumping in there and educating on product usage. And that's just amazing. So if, Melissa Pepping did such a good one over the weekend on all of the skincare stuff. And I would default to Melissa every single time on skincare information. And now we have that video available that we can just send people to, tag them in that and say, you had a question about the art line, here you go. It's perfect. It's all there. So no need to reinvent the wheel. Do not feel like you necessarily have to be the end all be all, because you guys, you know me, I am much more passionate about the visioning side and the business side. Seldom are people going to come to me with their skincare questions. This is a girl that's not even wearing makeup today because it's Monday and I don't have to. Woohoo! But we'll just help connect people to who they need to get connected with. That does not excuse you from the personal connection, like just caring for people. That still has to happen face to face. We can't delegate that. But for the education part, we just have to tap into all of those great resources. Follow-up takes time, at least an hour a week, depending on the size of your team. But if you're committed to it and you train your leaders to follow your example, you'll see slow, steady growth, sometimes fast growth. And another thing that Sarah does is she offers contests on her leadership page specifically for people who sign others on Essential Rewards. So there might be a perk for the individual that signs up for Essential Rewards, but as leaders who are hustling and educating about ER, that is another idea that we could reward those people, okay? Let's see. So plan to follow up. One more tip that she likes to share that comes actually from Joy and Hans Hinterkopf, who are Young Living Golds. They were struggling to get a hold of people after they purchased their kit. They would call, and because the person on the other end didn't know their number, they wouldn't respond. They would email or text and get no response. So they found a quick way to fix it. When new people are signing up for their starter kit, right then and there, set the date to go through the kit with them. Tell them you want to show them how to use their diffuser and how to utilize their oils and the benefits of Ningxia Red. So this is kind of like something that we've talked a lot about in Blast, but it's just part of our customer service. we don't want anybody to feel alone. It's like having your birthday cake by yourself. You've got the best kit, that present showing up on your door, and it's way more fun to have somebody guide you and just say, I'm here to help. I've got lots of tips I can share. And when you're standing at their kitchen table opening that box with them, you can totally be real and share what you love about frankincense and what you love about Panaway, and get them using that kit. Okay? So one more critical thing about follow-up, and it can be summed up in one word, and that word is consistency. So here's the truth. This is not a 1 month promotion where we focus on follow-up and then we stop. As long as we are adding people to our teams, which hopefully is forever, that is how long we have to do follow-up. Okay? Consistency is essential to every part of our business, but especially with follow-up. Sarah says, I found that I spend more time behind the scenes touching base with people than I do teaching. If you're aiming for Silver in 6 and you're teaching 4 to 6 classes a month with each class averaging 2 hours, you're working 8 to 12 hours a month based on class time only. That's about 1 day of work a month. But she says she probably spends at least another 5 hours a month on average doing follow-up. So do you think you could carve out 1 hour a week to just dedicate to checking in with like 4 people, or however long, maybe it's one person and you have an hour-long conversation. I've had that happen recently. And that's not a bad thing, because sometimes you need to pour into people. But honestly, 1 hour a week, and once we get into the rhythm, it's not a big deal. You just know, okay, this is my time, whatever time it is that I've set aside for follow-up. And you just know these are the people that are on my list for this week. And if you call 3 and they're not home and they don't answer, just keep calling down your list. And start with your personally enrolled. Let's take really, really, really good care of them first, and then move deeper in your legs where you know that a little extra is needed. Okay? Let's see here. So she finishes out this chapter just by talking about consistency in general and how it will make or break your business. I think that you guys are all advanced enough and have been with this long enough that you understand that. But the real underlying factor here is that if you want to grow this business, you just have to commit to it, and you have to be of that mindset that I am in this for the long haul. There will be bumps along the way. I know this. I will navigate through them, and I will end up on the other side where my goal is for me to end up. If you start with the attitude that I'm going to give it a try, and if I hit a roadblock, maybe I'll quit, maybe I won't, but we'll see. I can promise you that when you hit that roadblock, because let's be real, we will, right? But when you hit it and you haven't made a set decision, that will derail you. And it will take all the wind out of your sails, and it's not fun to start that over. So just have the mindset from the get-go, I'm in it for the long haul. I will navigate around these things. So thank you, Sarah. Perfect quote. Commit to not quit. That's it. And everything else becomes details, right? And we'll figure it out along the way. I mean, you all got to where you are without game plan. This is a new tool. And although a lot of it in here is not necessarily new, it's organized in a wonderful way. What tool will we be committing to and using in 2 years? I don't know. It's hard to say, isn't it? I mean, good grief. I am so stoked about the fact that we now have Jake Dempsey partnering with Young Living's IT department. Can we just take a moment and say thank you, Jesus, for that? I was privy to be on a live hour-long plus call with he and Christy last night. And let me just tell you that my heart was pounding so much when he started talking about, you guys, that we have so many epic ideas of what we could do if we could just have access to the full scope of information. You know, what he can do for us as members in the field is out of this world. And so we don't know what tools we're going to be using. So for right now, just do those basics that we know we need to do. Okay. Let's jump into chapter 11. Okay. Quick transition here. We dealt with some negativity this weekend with the oily tools scare, and through much prayer and much begging and pleading, it did make a very impactful difference, and we are so grateful for that. So what do you do when you deal with difficult people? Everybody encounters somebody at one point. So let's see. For people who just want one oil, I just want lavender. Will you just sell me a lavender? I will say very honestly, at different stages of my business, I have handled this question differently. So when you're first starting and you are trying to collect enough PV to make that 100 PV essential rewards order, sometimes having someone order a bottle of lavender on your ER order is actually very helpful. And I just want to tell you that I'm never going to ostracize you if you are in that position and that helps you keep your commission flowing and keep your ER building. Do what you have to do, but don't be complacent to stay there. And the other tip I would give you is when someone comes and they do say they just want to order one oil, maybe you tell them, I would be glad to do that for you one time. As my blessing to you, I will share, and whether it's up to you, whether you share your wholesale discount with them or you charge them retail, that depends on the person sometimes. But maybe you just say it's okay to do it one time. And then after that, I would like to help you get your own wholesale account. That is okay. What I personally, and we're all different, we're all, you're all your own business owners. What I am not going to do is I don't want to be the Avon lady. I don't want to continually be being, made to go deliver a bottle of lavender to somebody. I don't want to have to write out the darn receipt. I don't want to have to be home so somebody can come and pick it up. And I sure do not want to have to mail out individual oils. Okay? So I guess my word of caution to you is whatever you start, your friends and family will come to expect. So just be careful. If you make that exception once, that's why I said, give them the disclaimer that I'm happy to share my discount with you once. And then after that, I would love to teach you how to get your own wholesale account. Okay? Let's see here. Another reason that people might say that they just want one oil is because they don't know about any others. They don't know what they can do, and they don't understand how different oils help different body systems. So part of that is education and just kind of expanding their vision, okay? We don't want to enable people. We want to educate people. I think that that's absolutely huge. For people who don't want to have a wholesale account, if you've gone through the process of enrolling someone with a starter kit, you've seen the options that they can choose when they enroll. They can either be the retail customer or the wholesale member, right? And if you have somebody that is just adamant that they do not want a wholesale account, and frankly, now that we've done away with the Social Security number option, I don't know why you would get any pushback, honestly. because they don't even have to give any of that critical information. So to be honest, I'm trying to think if I have ever enrolled someone with a retail account. I have had orphans that Young Living has placed, because when you hit silver, you may or may not get orphans that are geographically located near you. I have had orphans placed on my team that were retail customers, but those are the people that are just, finding their way to the website and signing up, and they don't know what they're doing. So when I sit down with somebody, I don't think I have yet in the almost 10 years had a single person opt for the retail option, if that tells you anything, okay? So don't expect it, because it's very, very rare. But if they are adamant, they don't want to do the wholesale thing, they don't care about not even needing their SOCH, sign them up as a retail customer and let them, teach them, educate them still how to order their own products, and just, enjoy the benefits of that. I still think it's rare, and I certainly wouldn't go out looking for those. But I would rather do that. I would rather set them up with their own retail account than have them order through me and have to be the Avon lady. And that's just me. Some of you might enjoy that. I don't have time for that action. So that's what to do with that group of people. Now, let's talk about negative people. They're around. I love that Sarah says, even Christ encountered negative people. Okay, so we're not above that. There's two types out there. The type that are going to bash your family business. So remember, we talk about limiting beliefs in the business and limiting beliefs in yourself. So one kind would be people who have limiting beliefs in the business model. And the other kind of negative people that we will encounter are those that just bash oils in general. They think they're a joke. They don't believe in the power, whatever. So Sarah says she has a life verse, and I love this, that she brings her faith right into it. From Matthew chapter 10, she says, if anyone will not welcome you or listen to your words, leave that home or town and shake the dust off your feet. Essentially, you guys, you do not have to give your time and your precious energy to people who are negative. Be of enough confidence and carry yourself with enough posture that you can politely and confidently say, thank you, I'm moving on. Okay, don't stand there and get bashed. Why would you do that? Just move along, okay? Exactly, move on. So there's a lot of people out there who need oils. In fact, she says every single person you come in contact with needs them, whether they're at the post office or Walmart or whatever. There are more than enough people to keep you busy and to keep you in business. So I listened to the best interview this morning. I'm going to type this lady's name in here, Marie Forleo. Oh my gosh. Ladies, if you have not gone on YouTube and followed her teaching and her interviews, I know I'm constantly throwing more resources out, but this woman is absolutely awesome. And she did a session. She's kind of a life coach, business coach. Anyway, I'm not going to squirrel away there. Just check her out sometime when you want to have another amazing moment. I was watching an interview she did with Seth Godin, and he is another favorite author of mine. But what she was talking about, and I guess the point I was trying to make, is that there is more than enough in this world. There are more than enough people. There's more than enough resources. We should not have a scarcity mentality at all, because there is more than enough. And there is enough for Rachel to hit diamond and Sarah to hit diamond. And there's enough for Cammie to hit diamond and Amy to hit diamond. Everybody, Donna and Stacy and Mandy and Rhonda and Diane, everybody. It's not like only one of you get to do it and it's a race to the top. That's the coolest thing. We can collaborate in the most beautiful way, and there's more than enough. So get rid of that scarcity mentality that, oh my gosh, if they don't like me, that was my one and only contact for this week. Oh, dear heavens. No, we need to meet more people, okay? There's plenty of people. She says, I know that there are some people that you desperately want on your teams, like your mom or your best friend or your sisters. Let me tell you something. There was a thread in the Diamond group this past week about family. And they said, what do you do when your family is not supportive? And I was astounded. I shouldn't have been, but I was kind of taken aback by how many diamonds and crowns and royals said, oh man, we finally just had to move on. Our family still doesn't get it. And the truth of the matter is that those who know you most intimately, they may never be able to view you as the owner of $1 billion international essential oil company because you're the kid that grew up around the corner and that's all they can ever see. I deal with the same thing with some of my family, with some of my hometown friends. And while it's frustrating, it can also be kind of fun to say, just watch me. Watch me go. And you go wherever else you need to find the people that will listen. Remember, you're an expert when you carry a briefcase and you're 100 miles from home, right? That means leave your hometown. Get out of Dodge and go teach somewhere else. Have some of your downline edify for you in another place. Watch what happens. I'm not kidding. When Sonia and I went to Chillicothe, that's not that far away, okay? 2.5 hours. When we went down there to do the business training last Saturday, I felt like a rock star. And not that I should have, but you guys, they were so grateful that we were there. They made us feel like we were walking on water. Now, it's no different than the Skyla that shows up at Valley Community Center, but it's not as big of a deal there because it's the hometown crew, okay? These guys have just heard me on Facebook, right? So I am encouraging you, reach down in your downline to find somebody out of town. This is a new challenge. I'm just thinking of it on my feet. See if you can find somebody that's at least an hour from home and ask them if you can come and teach a class for them and see what happens. Because if you can teach them how to edify for you and how to invite people and say, you guys, this lady is coming. She is amazing. You have got to come and hear her. It will do magnificent things for your business. And it makes you feel kind of like grown up and responsible that you're traveling for work and you're doing something outside of home. And I'm not saying that you have to build the business totally away from home, but I think you each need that experience of what it feels like to leave the hometown, okay? We are coming up on 12:30 here. So this is a big one. Again, it's kind of like Sarah Harnish has been to Blast. So many of these things are repeating of what we've talked about. But she talks about emotionally detaching yourself from the outcome. This is so true. It's our job to cast the line, throw out the bait, sow the seeds, whatever you want to call it. It is not your job to decide what the fish in the water thinks when the bait hits the water. Okay, you don't get to be in charge of that. That's their decision. So if you, this is so good, okay? If you are so busy holding classes and doing follow-up, you have little time to notice those out there that gave you a resounding no. Be so busy having classes that you don't even notice a no. I can do class after class. I'm doing 3 in a row this weekend in Western Iowa. By the way, personal invitations. If you know anybody from Council Bluffs to Sioux City, anywhere, I don't care, invite them. Don't just add them to the events or post it. Call them and invite them and edify for me, and I will help you grow your team. Okay? But I love that line that if you're so busy teaching classes, you're not going to notice a no because you know you have another class booked. I booked a class this morning for May 4th. Last week, I booked one for May 7th. April is pretty much toast. For me, not toast. I mean, it's good. It's full, right? But you should be leapfrogging your schedule. Are you connecting? Have you set your days of the week that are your class days? And talking to your friends and your downline and saying, I have these Tuesdays open. Who wants me? That's a great way to do it. Make yourself available and you'll see who the squeaky wheel is. Who wants you? Are you targeting certain legs that you need growth in? Then that's where you ought to be offering to do classes, okay? Some of us are super lopsided, and that's okay. I am too. It's just the way it grew. So I am paying particular attention to my mom's leg. That's the one I need to grow. And so anybody in that leg right now that wants a class, they're getting my undivided attention. So be strategic about where you put your time. And if it's overall growth that you need, then it doesn't matter. You can go anywhere, okay? Let's see here. So I'm going to jump right to the end. The secret to handling negativity. Sarah says her identity was not that of a news anchor. Her identity isn't that she is a mom. Her identity isn't even that she's a young living diamond. Her identity is in Christ. And if we keep our eyes focused on Him, all of the other details are going to fade away. It really doesn't matter. And I cannot agree with this more, that we absolutely, positively have to be okay with ourselves first and come from a place of confidence that we know that what we have to offer is of value because we are valued and valuable. And so it's okay if you bump into people that are just negative. They weren't meant for you. God truly has something better in store, and it's okay to let those go by. Okay? Don't be the dog that chases after the car. Be filled with posture that attracts people, okay? Let's see. She's got beautiful, beautiful words, but she says, I have a hope and a future far beyond the whisperings of this world. We could talk all afternoon about the fact that even this business building, the tangible parts of this are very temporary. I think we can probably agree to that. It's a wonderful way to touch lives and be able to make a living at the same time. But I will tell you that it's the investment in the people and the connections that you're making that will last into eternity. And so put your value and put your energy into the people part, the relationship part. If that's what we build up, you guys, that's what's going to resonate with people, and it will last long after any paycheck. Okay? I want you this week to try to maintain that positive posture as you are working with people. But I want you to also, every single time, if you encounter negativity or you find yourself in a conflict kind of situation, I want you to just take a deep breath and see, how can I bring positivity to this situation and resolve it in a way that when I walk away, I feel good about myself because I know that we handled it right. You know what I mean? I don't think that we have to get bogged down with individual scenarios because it's all very temporary. Just love on people left and right, irregardless of what the reason is. Don't just do it to grow your business. Do it because it's the right thing to do. So thank you for joining me. Next week, we've got chapter 12. Nobody's coming to my classes. Now what? That's the name of the chapter. That's not really true. That's just what it's called. And then chapter 13, the keys to confidence. And I'm going to throw in chapter 14 as well. These are all really short. Chapter 14 is just all about tools, and we won't have to spend much time diving into them as much as we are going to bring your list of your favorite tools that have been the biggest blessing to you as you have built. I think that that's really helpful because everybody kind of resonates a little bit differently with different tools. And so it would be fun to know what's working the best for each of you. Okay, so 3 chapters for next week. And I thank you all for coming. Have a good afternoon, guys.